There's something I've noticed in the CrossFit space lately. I'll be honest, it's mostly on Instagram because I don't really watch any CrossFit content or commentary stuff. I'll watch the odd like Buttery Bros video if I'm in the mood for it, but honestly they feel like quite fast paced for me, and I like much more like slow paced kind of vlog style videos. And I listen to the odd episode from the Kettlebells and Cocktails podcast, which I really love, but the rest of it I don't watch at all. I've still seen all of this drama over on Instagram. I wanted this to be a more casual video. This might become a regular segment where I just do a sit and chat with a coffee, although this is actually a tea. I mean, you know I'm British, so it would be tea, but this is actually a chai tea because I don't really like normal tea. And I feel like I'm just having a chat with a friend when I do videos like this, so I might do it more. A lot of the drama has been surrounding Dani Speegle, and Dani says herself that she's quite a controversial character. I'll be honest, I listened to this podcast from Kettlebells and Cocktails and I loved it so much. I sent it to so many people because it resonated with me in lots of different ways. I find her super relatable anyway, and I really like Dani's message and her story and a lot of what she stands for. And then it must have been last week I saw a load of really horrible comments on a few posts about Dani. Claims that she's like playing the victim. A lot of people really viciously attacking her, how awful she is for like sexualizing her body. And honestly, CrossFit is really close to my heart. It always really shocks me when people from the CrossFit community come up with such vicious, horrible comments, and often it seems to be directed at women. Firstly, the comments that claim she's playing the victim, that's something that's often thrown at a woman, especially when she's being particularly opinionated or standing up for herself when she's being attacked. It's a comment that I get quite a lot. If I talk about the fact that people online troll me, then I get told I'm playing the victim. Dani is literally a victim of online trolling. She is literally a victim of online abuse. She's not playing anything. She doesn't gain anything from talking about it. It's just that people don't like her to talk about it. But as I said, often I feel like this is just a way to take a woman down that's got opinions and that people don't like. I think there are many reasons that Dani is a controversial character. She's quite confident in herself, and I found this clip of her in a video.
I'm like calling my parents, I'm like, hey, so I found this thing called CrossFit. I think I can be really good at it and I'm really gonna go for it.
Where she's talking about wanting to be bigger than CrossFit, which she mentions in the podcast too.
My goals have always been bigger than just the competitive side of CrossFit.
Generally, society doesn't like it when women speak about their success or thinking that they're good at stuff. We also know that there's this strange paradox with women. There's this pressure to be attractive and try to be as attractive as possible, but as soon as you know that you're attractive and you flaunt it by, like Dani's case, like posing in bikini pictures or walking down the catwalk in a bikini, and like outwardly knowing and flaunting the fact that she is a really attractive woman. People hate that, but it's fine if you're attractive and you work to be attractive in the way that society deems acceptable, but you don't quite know that you're attractive. And this is played out in loads of movies throughout time, and the Barbie movie really touches on this when the Dr. Barbie has her glasses removed and the man gets to discover that she's attractive.
I am so awkward and don't feel pretty at all, and will anyone ever like me?
Or distract them with the old standby, wearing glasses so that they can discover that you're pretty.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, now we can see your beautiful face.
Like, that is the socially acceptable way to be attractive. There's also the One Direction song and plenty of others that say you don't know you're beautiful, and like implying that that makes them more attractive because they're unaware of their beauty. We see it so frequently. Like, it's fine as long as she doesn't know that she's pretty, but as soon as she does, she is either unattractive and we're gonna slam her for it, or she's a slut and she's flaunting it and now she's a bitch. And I think that plays a part in the controversy surrounding Dani Speegle. We can also see this with the whole flip on Margot Robbie. After appearing in the Barbie movie, loads of men took to social media to say that she's mid, which to the millennials out there like me means like middle, like attractive. So basically they're saying that she's like a 7 when like Margot Robbie is clearly a 10. She's amazing in so many ways, but it's when she went from being objectified and seen as this sex object in movies under the male gaze, and then she started doing more roles that were more empowering and more true to her and kind of stepping into her power. That's when she gets the backlash. And any woman that's ever been on a dating app and someone's complimented your appearance and you've said thank you, and you haven't like massively downplayed it, you've just accepted the compliments, or you have turned a man down, then they'll flip on you and they'll say, oh, you are ugly anyway, and they'll start attacking your appearance. That's what we're seeing with Margot Robbie. And I also think that's what we're seeing with Dani Speegle. Dani is very confident, very opinionated, and rightfully so. I support Dani to do whatever she wants with her body. She is allowed to post bikini pictures and know that she's attractive. She could start a you know what fans page if she really wanted to. It's her body and she's allowed to do what she wants with it. She's recently stepped outside the CrossFit space in an attempt to give wider representation of muscular females in different areas. So she did a fashion show where she walked down the runway in a bikini and she had wings on. I think she looked amazing. And she also speaks in the podcast about how muscular women are just not represented on catwalks or in the media, and she wants to change that. Laura also made the comment about the Barbie movie at the CrossFit Games, and she said that she didn't want to look like people in the Barbie movie. It was clear from her comment that she hadn't actually seen the Barbie movie.
I'm just very happy that me and my body can do this, and I'm not looking at the new Barbie movie. Oh, I want to look like that. I want to look like what I look like.
Because actually the movie aims to take down a lot of the stereotypes about body image and literally everything that we're put under pressure to be as a woman. However, if we look at the Barbies represented in the movie, there isn't a muscular Barbie. It always seems to be that missing piece. We've got more representation of plus size bodies, which is amazing, and lots of other marginalised groups, but we don't really have representation of muscular bodies. And representation is super important because if you see somebody that looks like you doing something that you think you couldn't do, it helps you believe in yourself. I think Dani also gets quite a lot of hate because her goals aren't to win the CrossFit Games, and she openly says that her goals are bigger than CrossFit. She's more interested in getting her message out there, and she does talk about the fact that she is an influencer and that is her job and she owns it. And I know people hate that so much, but people really hate, especially in the CrossFit community, when you're not wanting to get better at CrossFit or get to the next level. I experience this quite a lot when I talk about doing CrossFit for recreational purposes, enjoying it and just doing for general fitness and health, and not really wanting to progress. Like, I used to be able to do muscle ups, I used to be able to do loads of things. I don't care about doing any of that anymore. I just do CrossFit because it keeps me fit, it keeps me strong, it gives me the ability to do loads of different sports, and I love that. But to a certain extent, I think because CrossFit is so cultish, the narrative is that you need to get better for the Open every single year and you must be working on all of your weaknesses. People really hate it when you don't want to get to that next level, whatever that next level is for you. Whether you're a scaled athlete, you must be trying to RX, or if you're an RX athlete, then you must be trying to get elite and go to some of the high level competitions. Or if you enter a competition, then you must be trying to get on the podium. And then like Dani, if you're at the CrossFit Games, then you must be wanting to win. That's actually not the case. You can do CrossFit for whatever reason you want to do CrossFit. I think that's part of the reason she's such a controversial character. Dani also made a comment about the boys club within CrossFit, and I know what she's referring to there. It's prevalent in a lot of spaces within CrossFit, and it seems like a lot of the backlash is from people within the boys club or people that would take offence to a statement like that. Coming back from the games and seeing a lot of the hostility in certain areas kind of made me want to back off from certain areas of CrossFit. As I said, I don't really listen to a lot of the media anyway, and I'm really not interested by celebrities in the space or anything like that. Having been on TV and met a large amount of celebrities, I recognise that most of them are regular people. I've also met a lot of influencers, and there are nice ones and there are not so nice ones, and a lot of people are very different in person than what they are on camera. Celebrity and fame isn't really what impresses me. What impresses me is the message that people have. I really love that about Laura Horvarth, and I really love that about Dani Speegle, and I like what Dani is trying to do for women and girls out there to try and make them feel like they can eat, to recover from eating disorders, to feel good in their body. And you might see the girls who eat shit and think that's not profound, but in a world where we're constantly pressured to eat as little as possible, it's really profound. And she is collectively giving permission to thousands of girls that have felt like they need to starve themselves their whole life, and she's given them something, and that impresses me. If she had her millions of followers and didn't have a message like that, then she wouldn't interest me at all. But I love that she's trying to change the space and change the wider fitness industry, and even in fashion. Her message is bigger than CrossFit. I also like other athletes like Cara Saunders. I love seeing her family life. I love it when athletes show more of what they are instead of just just the small portion that is the athlete. Like, I really love watching Tia's pregnancy journey, and I especially relate to a lot of the women. I've been more of a fan of Katrin since she's been honest about her history with disordered eating. I've recognised that those are the stories that I'm interested in, and everything else to me is just noise, and a lot of it can be quite hostile and vicious, and I'm just not interested in that. And also, my relationship with CrossFit is ever changing. At the gym, you don't get the hostility and stuff that you see online. And this is even before the Dani Speegle stuff, like that morning shortcut post when they talked about gender neutral clothing. The amount of backlash that post got it's crazy. But in a gym, if a non-binary person came into the gym, they would be accepted and welcomed. I think what we see online and in the kind of CrossFit media space isn't a good representation of what it's actually like to go to a CrossFit gym. And also, you could quite easily go to a CrossFit box and not really know anything else that's going on outside the sport. You could probably go to a CrossFit gym and be completely oblivious to the games. I personally really like watching the games, so that is always going to feature in my life, I think. But I'm definitely starting to recognise more how CrossFit is going to feature in my life in the future. Now I only do 3 days a week of actual CrossFit, and then I do a couple of days of whatever I feel like. And CrossFit has actually empowered me to know how to train in like a functional training kind of way. But I can do that now in any gym. I've started training at a commercial gym. They've got an assault runner, which I am buzzing about. My hyperfixation at the moment is cardio. I literally made my partner do an EMOM the other day of like running, ski erg and rowing. He hated me for that. I'm finding it's really nice to just have my own time to do stuff. Like, I can spend 2 hours. I can do Olympic weightlifting and have a really good warm-up, and also time between lifts enough to recover. It's just nice not to be kept on that clock so much, and it's honestly been really liberating to have control over my own training. I'm also finding it's good for me, helping me listen to my body. I can train more intuitively and work out what would feel good for me to do today, and then listen to my body and do that. I'm in quite a unique position in that I don't really care about gaining muscle anymore. I've got a lot of muscle, I can lift heavy weights, and I don't care about getting better at that. Though I would like to improve my strict pull-ups, but I'm just having a good time picking the stuff that I enjoy and just training how I want to. No one is in control of how CrossFit should feature in our lives. You can see it as a fitness class or something you do recreationally, or you just for fun, or maybe you just pop into a CrossFit gym every so often. You can also be a competitor in the sport. Dani sees it as a sport that she loves and that she likes to compete in, and she also wants to branch out and do other things. And she spoke about how the methodology of CrossFit is supposed to enable you to do lots of other sports, and she's trying to explore more of that, and that's something that I've wanted to do for myself for years and I'm finally doing. And then you've got Laura, who is at the top of the sport and that is her main focus, and she's not a social media influencer like Dani. Her focus is just the sport. All of those are okay. You're allowed CrossFit to feature in your life in whatever way you decide it should. There's no right way to do it, whether it's recreationally, competitively or professionally. If you want to see how CrossFit is featuring in my life at the moment and how I've pulled my life back together after going to the CrossFit Games, then watch this video next. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!